So if you're a real estate agent, you may have gotten a listing agreement or an inquiry from a seller that may want to sell their property, only to find out they're completely full of shit. Well, we're going to cover that today, and all the aspects of title fraud, and all the shenanigans and dirty stuff that is going on. And I think it's very interesting because I don't know if you're like me, I always want to know what's behind it. What's the end goal for these people, right? So we have today's guest, Victoria Feather, with Capital Title, and we're going to talk about all the things that are fraud. So also want to thank our sponsors, Capital Title and Blended Sense, for being the sponsor of the show. And so let's get right into it. Okay,
let's go.
So I've seen this happen a few times. I don't know how far we've actually gone with it in the sense of, I don't think we've ever been any of our clients or our firm or have ever been ripped off, but we've gotten to the point where an agent has gone out to a property. This has happened more than once. And they go to the property, they're looking at it, and it's either for sale for another company or it's not for sale at all. And we find out that the whole thing is BS, right? So what's the game there?
Well, that's probably a situation where it's seller impersonation fraud.
Yeah.
So that's something that's happening in the industry today, where it's either someone local, or if they're putting a sign out, I would imagine it is somebody local. I'm seeing it more just online in this digital world that we live in, where technology is right at everybody's fingertip.
Yeah.
It's so easy to post something online and have a for sale by owner, or not even have to go meet your agent to list a property.
Sure.
You can do it all over the phone. So those are instances where you're seeing people use technology to, purport a crime, so to speak, because they're impersonating somebody else.
So, okay, obviously people are doing this because in some instances it worked, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what is their game? Like how do they, let's say, I don't know if you've ever had anyone that actually got ripped off on it, but you probably know the process of of what they're trying to do, and what are they trying to get money from the listing agent from or what?
Well, ideally, what they're wanting to do is have a transaction, close and fund, and get paid, and then just abscond with the money and just disappear, vanish into thin air, right?
Yeah.
Before anybody really knows something's happened. So I've dealt with a lot of them. Now, I say that, and let me kind of put an asterisk by it. The reason I've dealt with a lot of them is because Capital Title is the largest independently owned title company in the United States. We have over 110 direct offices in the state of Texas. So when you think about the volume of transactions that we do,
Sure.
Of course, we're going to probably see more than a title company that has 3 offices.
Okay.
So yes, I've been involved with them across the state since this began. This probably happened, I would say, right after COVID. This to me became the new get-rich-quick scheme for fraudsters. It's not necessarily you still see people trying to intercept wires these days.
Yeah.
That's not as prevalent to me. This is this is their new tactic.
Have you ever seen anybody get away with this?
Get away with it and what? Like get the money and never be caught?
Oh yeah, get the money and be caught, or get the money and not get caught.
I haven't heard. It hasn't happened with us. I know with other title companies, yes. Now there's certain stages at which, when you know there's a problem, if you act quick enough, you can get a bank account frozen, or get, at least hope that there's some money, if not all of the money there. It just really depends on the facts and circumstances surrounding the transaction, and a little bit of luck and having somebody in your corner to push that knows what they're doing. Yeah.
Well, are the people that are doing this, are they in like some phone bank in, I don't know, another country, or are they doing it from here?
I mean, so it's been my experience in dealing with law enforcement on some of the transactions that we've been involved with. It's all the above. I mean, they could be in a different country. They could be here in the United States. They could be locally. But the interesting part about this scam that they're running is that all transactions are traceable with a bank. Mm-hmm. So once that money goes to a bank, it then is going to go to another bank, and then another bank, and then another bank. And, and law enforcement can see all of that.
Yeah.
The problem is that money gets diluted until then it's gone, and they could, go to a grocery store and get a money order and pull out money, or they could go to an ATM and draw it all out. So once they've got their hands on the actual funds, that's then the problem.
Yeah. And so from the experience you've heard, did they get caught?
Some instances, we've been involved in instances where, I mean, I've dealt with, local law enforcement to district attorneys to county, the county sheriff, detectives to, FBI have been after some people. So yes, at some point, these people will get caught.
Yeah.
A lot of times, though, it's not just one person committing this. It's not like this one person that has this great idea and they commit this wire fraud or they commit this fraudulent conveyance, seller impersonation fraud heist.
Yeah.
It's a criminal ring that they are targeting certain people or targeting certain types of property to, get transactions closed and funded relatively quickly.
Gotcha. And so if you're if you're a real estate agent, most of our audience,
right?
What do you look out for? How do you go about and try to prevent this?
Oh, great question. Okay, so here are some of the things that I would call red flags of fraud. I would say, and these are all from, statistics from the things that we have seen or that I've seen and dealt with. Vacant land transactions, that is prevalent.
Yeah.
There have been a couple instances where I've seen transactions where it's seller impersonation fraud, and I'm going to call it a structure on the property. I'm not going to call it a dwelling where somebody could actually live there.
Yeah.
One was a dilapidated mobile home and one was an abandoned house with a tree through the middle of it, right? So no one is living at these properties. I think that's a big indicator. I have not seen it where someone is actually occupying a house.
Yeah.
And you've got seller impersonation fraud.
Yeah.
I mean, think about it. The propensity or the opportunity for someone to go knock on the door and say, hey,
yeah,
I'm trying to buy your house. And
yeah.
someone answer, that's how they're going to get caught. So these criminals are smart. I mean, they know that. So what they're doing is it's typically a vacant land transaction. It's typically if they're not listing it themselves, they are trying to list it online or trying to list it with an agent that they never meet in person.
Mm-hmm.
They've always got some story as to why they can't meet them. A lot of times, they do their research. They're looking to see, hey, this property is located in Marble Falls or Horseshoe Bay, but the cattle show that the owner lives in Houston or the owner lives here in Austin. So it's not like, hey, I live here in Austin and I own, lot 1 and lot 2, and lot 2 is the vacant lot on the corner.
Yeah.
It's not an adjacent piece of property.
Yeah.
There's some sort of distance between the two.
Yeah.
So, because think about it, if it were, they're trying not to get caught.
Yeah.
So those are a couple things. And something else is that a lot of times it's that, and I hear people say this, buyers say this, man, we thought this deal was too good to be true.
Yeah.
Well, it really is, right? What they're wanting, a lot of times, it's not, the sales price is much lower than what the CAD value is. Maybe not necessarily today, but when this first started, it was.
Right.
Now it's probably right on the money, but a little bit lower. But what they're trying to do is entice someone to go along with a quick transaction.
Yeah.
Because if it's the deal of the century, why would you want to let it slip by?
Yeah,
right?
it's like that's like the rental scams that were going on,
right?
5, 6, 7 years ago, and I remember I had a property listed for, I don't know, $3,500 a month, and I got someone I just lost $1,200 because your listing. It's like, you lost $1,200 because you got scammed, right? So what I have told agents before, and I actually had a text just the other day. Some guy texted me. It's like, I'm looking for a property in Westlake, and I heard you're a great realtor. I was like, well, first of all, I haven't sold a home in 6 years, but so I'm not sure I'd hear that. But and I sent it to one of my agents, and I was like, and I told him it smells fishy. The guy wouldn't talk on the phone, and he didn't go far at all. But I think from an agent's standpoint, what do they do? Like I've always recommended, get on a video call with them.
Right.
I
think that's a great option. I suggest that. A lot of people might be camera shy. They don't want to FaceTime. But at some point, we live in a digital world, and I think we're losing that interpersonal connection to people, that in-person communication, to where if you're not willing just to get on a FaceTime call or a Zoom call to just see the person, I think that's a great thing to do. I've really pushed people to do that.
Yeah, well, and we've done things with security wise for our agents. It's advise them to get a copy of the driver's license. That's just for physical security. But I think it's reasonable to not only do that, but to also let people know. And I think you can tell people that too. Say, look, there's a lot of scams out there. My broker would like to get on. He would like me to get on a video
Right.
call with you, and if you send your ID,
Right.
is there anything else you think that agents should be on the lookout for?
I mean, so let's see. So vacant land, I think, is kind of a red flag. Then the seller living in a different city is where the property's located. Listing price was lower than the CAD value. Not wanting to communicate, in person. Not wanting to meet the person, the landowner, purported landowner in person. Not wanting to do some sort of FaceTime, Zoom type situation. I think, a lot of it too has to do with kind of the time of the year. We see a good fraudsters. You got to think criminals they're always trying to seek an advantage, right? So if they're trying to close a transaction quickly and get away with the funds, they typically try to pick times that it's a really busy season or a busy time of the month, hence end of month, for realtors and title companies, especially when you've got a federal holiday where banks are closed, because that gives them an advantage.
Yeah.
You got a Friday or a Monday where the banks are closed, that gives them an additional day.
Yeah, and they're always in a rush.
But guess what? ATMs are open. They can go get that money order, on the weekend. So it's planned. I mean, I've looked at this because it's important to know that so we can help, so we can help our company, just our own employees, to say, hey, look, be on the lookout. We see these, and this is typically when we see them.
Yeah.
If you got a client that's really pushy, wanting to get it sold really quick, most of the time when I've talked to agents and they've, dealt with a fraudster, they always have a story. They have a story of why they can't come to closing or why they can't meet them in person. Yeah. And if you pay attention, people will tell you everything you need to know. And their stories don't always match up. So just being aware and kind of cognizant of, hey, you told me you might have been in New York last week and now you're in Florida. Yeah. I thought you said whatever their business was. That might not add up. So just having some common sense too, I think.
So let's talk about wire fraud for a minute. And so, I remember like 3 or 4 years ago, that was a big issue.
Right.
And it still probably is.
Yeah.
Is it still as prevalent?
For us, I'm not seeing wire fraud as much. Now, one of the things that we've done is we've really upped our security and our technology. I mean, you've got to be proactive and not reactive. And wire fraud is a great example. If you're going to be reactive to wire fraud, it's a losing game. So we've decided to be proactive and really get ahead of it and put measures in place so those type of things are very unlikely to happen. When a wire fraud issue does come about, it is most likely because of someone's email has been compromised.
Yeah.
And I'm getting this information because I've met with the FBI when I used to be out of Dallas up at our corporate office. Now I'm regional counsel for Austin and San Antonio and live here in Austin. But when I first came to Capital Title, these were some of the things that we reached out because we saw that these issues were happening to other people and we didn't want them to be, we weren't going to be a victim. Basically, we're going to be proactive and we're going to get in front of this.
Yeah.
So we reached out to, local law enforcement who kind of guided us to say, hey, you need to talk with the FBI office that's in Dallas and Homeland Security. Ironically, that's one of the branches that we talk to. And in my conversations with those law enforcement groups, how they explained it, what they are seeing is an email will get hacked, be compromised. And it's kind of terrifying, actually. These fraudsters will be watching someone's email weeks, months, could be years. And they're realizing, okay, this person is a realtor. This person does these kind of transactions. Mm-hmm. So what they do is they're waiting to pounce on a file or on a transaction that's enough money that they're after.
Yeah.
So what they go in and do is they spoof the email. So they go in and make an email address that's very similar to the person.
Yeah.
Have it the same name
all the time.
Yep. And so then they take the real estate agent off of it, or the client even. It could be your buyer or your seller.
Yeah.
So, that's one of the reasons why we independently verify wiring instructions. We don't just go off of something in an email because email is not secure. I mean, as secure as you think it could be, it's not.
Yeah, right.
So we have multiple things that put in place to make sure that when we receive wiring instructions, where whatever they may be, we're independently verifying those.
So should I change my password from Ryan1234?
Yes.
Okay.
Make it password 1234.
Oh, okay. Got you. So I'm going to ask the audience, if you are watching this, I would be interested in you to have in the comment section or email me or whatever. What are the scams that you're seeing? One of the things that we see all the time is, I mean, it probably happens 3, 4, 5 times a year, if at the least, where agents are getting a text supposedly from me, and they're saying, hey, I need a favor. Can you go to Walmart and get a gift card? I've actually had an agent send an Amazon card. And I'm like, and we have it on our like one of our onboarding videos is like, by the way, Ryan's never going to ask you for a gift card from Amazon or Walmart or Federal Express or whatever the fuck it is, right?
Yeah.
And we, you know, without fail, 2 or 3 months will go by and I get text, hey, is this you? I'm like, or most of the time now it's not, right? But my question to you is, what is the craziest scenario you've seen?
Ooh, that's a good question. Like on a wire fraud situation or just fraud in general?
Fraud in general.
We've had situations where because somebody chose to go, so let me explain this. You don't have to have title insurance to close a transaction or consummate a real estate conveyance in the state of Texas.
Right.
You don't even have to record your deed to have a real estate conveyance in the state of Texas. That's not a requirement to have a valid deed. A deed is the conveyancing document.
Yeah.
And I'm prefacing it because what I'm about to tell you should terrify you, and I believe everybody should have title insurance for this one reason.
Yeah.
This is a great situation, or great example. So you can have multiple conveyances and the people might not be real. Okay? And if those documents don't get recorded, how do you know? So the craziest thing I've seen is where somebody has gone in and, let's say person A owns the property. This criminal went in and drafted a deed, conveyed the property from A to B, then conveyed the property from B to himself. A to B was not insured, B to himself was not insured, and then he's tried to sell the property.
Okay.
We caught it because the people in conveying criminal trying to convey out the people wanted title insurance. So they came to close with us and we ran title to figure out, hey, wait a minute, these conveyances, we've reached out and those are not insured transactions. So it gives you pause.
Let me stop you here for a second.
Yeah.
Okay, so A to B are normal buyers and sellers?
Yeah. So let's just say John Doe owns the property. Mm-hmm. John Doe is purported to execute a deed to Jane Smith.
Okay.
Okay, that's a conveyance. So Jane now owns the property.
Yep.
Then Jane sells to Bill Jones.
Okay.
Okay. So now Bill Jones owns the property.
Uh-huh.
Now Bill Jones has now put the property on the market and he's trying to sell it.
Okay.
And he's wanting to come sell it. I'm wanting to buy it.
Yeah.
I'm wanting to buy it, but when I want to buy it, I want to get title insurance.
Okay.
So I put in the contract. We're going to get, I want a contract. We're going to get title insurance. I want title to be examined on this property. And we bring it to Capital Title to close the transaction. So through the course of doing your title exam, we're able to find out and figure out, hey, these documents aren't adding up here.
Was it the third person that tried to sell it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So sometimes it's deed fraud, basically what that is. Mm-hmm. And you have this situation where someone has vested themselves in title by a fraudulent document.
Yeah.
So whether it's the person, you want to get really legal into it, whether the person didn't have the correct intent to convey the property or they didn't legally own the property that they're trying to convey, whatever the issue may be. In this instance, there were 2 fraudulent deeds in the chain of title, and the criminal was trying to sell the property. So I've seen that happen.
Yeah.
Which is kind of terrifying, right?
Yeah.
But that's why you go to a reputable title company to do your title exam to help you navigate this process, so you don't get. So then you don't fall a victim become a victim as well.
Right. Let's talk about for a second. Let's talk about title insurance.
Okay. Let's talk about it.
So, and I think agents really need to know this. I mean, I think for a long time, and I've seen where I think agents don't really take a look at the title commitment Schedule C. Is that what it is?
There's 4. There's 4 schedules to a title commitment.
Right, but this isn't. well, first of all, explain the different.
Okay, perfect.
This is great.
Yeah.
Explain the different schedules
Okay.
for the people that are watching.
Awesome. Okay. So now we're like, I'm really getting into this. This is great. All right. So title insurance. What is it?
Hold on
What
one
is a
second,
title commitment? Yeah.
I just wanted to tell anyone who's watching this is very important if you're a real estate agent. Okay.
Yeah.
It really is, because it's one of the most overlooked things that agents don't pay attention to. And what I found is sometimes an agent can bring value to the problem, which is the main thing that we're about.
Right.
Is bringing value to your clients. So I think it's very important that this part of it be looked at from an agent point and that they know. Okay, so go ahead.
No. Okay. So I love educating people about what title insurance is. I teach a lot of continuing education classes. One in particular is over this subject matter. I'm not going to I could spend an hour or more.
Yeah, we don't need that.
I'm going to make it real high level real quick.
Okay.
So you have 4 schedules to your title commitment. Schedules A, B, C, and D. And I'm going to explain like the ABCs of title. So Schedule A is going to show all your pertinent facts about the property. It's going to show sales price. It's going to show if there's going to be who the buyer is, who the lender is, what the insured amount is. So basically what your loan amount is. It's going to show the type of legal interest that the owner actually owns. Okay, they could own a different interest. It could be fee simple. It could be a life estate, whatever. It's going to show the legal interest that they own that they're going to convey to you as the buyer. It's going to have the legal description of the property.
Yeah.
So all of the pertinent facts, okay, and all of this should match what is on the what is on the contract.
Yep.
Schedule B. So the basic way, 35,000 feet view way to explain Schedule B is all of the items recorded in the real property records that affect your property.
Yep.
That you could view them as quote problems, but they're not really. So let me give an example. So like an easement that's recorded of record, but it's like your utility line easement. So
it's the history.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So all of these things that are affecting the property.
Sure.
Okay. Schedule C.
Exemptions.
What?
C is exemptions?
No. C is not exemptions.
Okay.
So B is your exceptions from your policy. Exclusions.
Exclusions. B is
your exclusions. Yeah. So like think easements, right of way, things of that. Okay. And that's why I like to give the utility easement because it's like, hey, you want electricity, right? Like you got to have electricity at your house. So you're going to have an easement for the utility company to be able to come in and access and maintain those lines. Schedule C is going to be what I like to call is your roadmap for closing. Okay. That's what we're looking at the title company. The examiner is going in there and reviewing vesting. So let's say, for example, you have a properties vested in John Doe, but we find that there's a probate filed in Travis County for John Doe, meaning John Doe is dead. Okay.
Yeah.
So there's going to be an item on Schedule C that's going to say, we found a probate. Here's where it was, here's where it was recorded. It was recorded in this county. The owner of record is dead. We need to, move forward with conveying out of the estate. Or let's say it's, vested in a trust or a will that creates a trust. So you're going to have these kind of things are going to be on Schedule C. Roadmap for closing. That's why I call it that, is because it's a checklist of things you need to get addressed.
Right. Well, and so what I think is important for agents and for buyers is the exceptions, right? Because like, let's say you've got a utility easement in the back of a house that you're planning on, building a structure on that you really need to pay attention to that, especially if the buyers, if their intent is like, okay, I want to build an ADU back there, and they find out that they can't, then then you can go. That doesn't mean the deal is necessarily dead. But there's also like certain things that the title company will issue an exception to that can possibly be removed, right?
There are, yes.
Or the seller can cure that by doing certain things.
Right. So you're talking about like where buyers making objections to the survey and your Schedule B exception.
That's right.
Okay. So yes. So when you make objections pursuant to the contract, your buyer has the ability to make objections, then your seller has the opportunity to cure. Whether your seller decides to cure or not, or whether they can cure is a whole nother story.
Yeah.
I don't foresee a seller going and digging up a underground utility easement.
Well, I can't think of the exact.
That can happen. Like, let's say you got something that runs right through the middle of the property, and it's the city owns it, and you want to put a pool in. Well, we're gonna have to figure something out, right?
Yeah.
So yes, there are certain things that are exceptions from the policy, and that's going to be on Schedule B.
Yeah. I can't think of an exact incident right now, but I know I've had things either a seller remove it, or I've even had things where, gosh, again, I'm a little out of practice,
It's okay.
but where there was an exception based on an outlined circumstance that could have been dealt with.
Right.
Right. But I think where people get into trouble, where agents get into trouble is, if because I think a lot of people, depends on what kind of person you are, if you're a
Right.
detail oriented person, or if you're just, fly by the seat of your pants like I am, which takes a lot of training, right? But my point is that as an agent, what you don't want to have happen is not read a title commitment and explain what these exceptions are.
Yeah.
If it's, especially if the intent of the property or the buyer is to do something with that property.
Correct.
Now you can make the assumption that if they're a builder or a developer or flipper or investor in any way,
Right.
they should know that, but that's not always the case.
Right.
And I think it's important for real estate agents to at least look it over and bring it. Like, you don't have to be the expert at that exception or whatever, but like you can point that out and say, hey, I think you should talk to title about that. Right. Is that what you guys do?
Yeah. I mean, I definitely think that that's a good way to do that. I wouldn't have a realtor. I wouldn't ever suggest a realtor to give a legal opinion or legal advice.
Of course not.
Yeah.
No.
Would not do that. Don't do that.
Yeah, I know.
But yeah, knowing enough that, hey, I'm looking at the survey and I'm seeing this easement and here it is on Schedule B. Let's make sure that is where the surveyor says it is, and what can you do about that? Or hey, we have a shared driveway agreement. I think it's not. I don't think it's a bad thing to ask questions.
Yeah.
I think all the schedules of the commitment are important. A, B, C, and then you've got D, which is your disclosures.
Yeah.
It's going to show who your underwriter is and the premium split and all of that.
Yeah.
Disclosures of affiliated businesses, so on and so forth. I think, but for me, I think Schedule C is really where it is the most important part, because you've got to get those items cleared before you can close. And as a seller, if I've got a child support lien that's on there that's not mine, I don't want that coming out of my seller proceeds, right? And if you're a buyer, you're entering into a contract to acquire the property free and clear of all encumbrances, including a lien. Right?
Yeah.
So that's where, to me, it's like, yes, Schedule B is important because it's showing you all the things that are filed of record that are exceptions to the policy. But Schedule C is showing you, hey, we got to get all these things cleared.
Well, could you make the point? You could possibly make the point that Schedule B is very more important for the buyer and Schedule C is more important for the seller.
I mean, you can't. I mean, I think they're both equally important, but I'm also kind of a title nerd, or at least that's what I've been told.
Okay.
I'm into all of it, but
it's
interesting. I mean, title's a cool thing.
Yeah,
I think it's cool. I said earlier this week title was interesting, and I got made fun of, but I find title incredibly interesting because there's all these little intricate pieces that go with it.
Yeah.
It's like a huge puzzle that you don't know if the picture that you're looking at is actually the picture, because you've got to figure it all out.
Yeah.
Whether it's understanding that how to read a deed and how to read what's actually conveyed in a deed. You can have a deed that's titled warranty deed, but if it contains special warranty deed language, that's a special warranty deed.
Right.
Or does it actually convey the property that you entered into a contract with? Like, can you read a meets and bounds description and understand how calls work?
Yeah.
There's a lot of cool things that go into it.
Well, and I think for real estate agents, the moral to the story is know the process enough to be able to add value to the client, and then you be with a trusted title company and escrow officer like you guys, and be able to just be, you want to be able to not know nothing, okay?
Yeah.
But you also want to be able to lean in on your title company and say, hey, I was explaining the title commitment. I was going it over with them, and I think we want more clarity on this.
To me, the most important thing is closing with a reputable title company. Yeah. Somebody that's going to take you as a client and treat you like family and look out for you and be doing things behind the scenes that you as the client, you're not even going to know about.
Yeah.
Like, for example, all the things that we do to protect our consumers, to whether it's the realtor and or your buyer and seller on a transaction, for like the vacant land procedures that we have. So on that seller impersonation fraud that we started talking about today, we're doing things behind the scenes that clients may or may not know about, whether it's independently verifying someone's identity. We don't just rely on a photograph of an ID because, people can go into Photoshop or you can go on Canva or whatever, Chat GPT, and take a digital image from Google of a driver's license and put it in there and change the photo, change the name. And that's been part of this scam that people have been doing. So one of the things that we've done is we've implemented, we have a partnership with a company called Closing Lock that independently verifies all the information on driver's licenses. And it will not work off of a computer generated image, or if you take a driver's license and you photocopy it.
Yeah.
They've got to, the consumer has to take their phone. Now there's some hiccups here because not everybody has a smartphone. Most everybody does, but not everybody.
Yeah.
And you take a photo of the driver's license front and back, verifies whether that is a true and correct ID to the degree of issue date of driver's license, date of birth, driver's license number. Mm-hmm. It's fantastic. That's one of the things that we do. Another thing that we do is we have a whole procedure, vacant land procedure. So whether it's a vacant lot, or if it's a large rural piece of property, like a large ranch that doesn't have a dwelling where someone's living on, we treat them all the same. So we have a whole procedure where we reach out to the client in a way and provide a certified letter. So that letter's got to come back and have a green card or show that it's been signed for. And it's got a unique code that's generated that only the closer of the file, so the escrow officer of the file, will have a copy of that code and stick it in the file. So when they receive the letter, they call us. So we know that, hey, we're actually Ryan is selling this property. He's the owner of record. We're actually dealing with Ryan. He passed Closing Lock. He's done this. Okay, we're good to go.
Yeah. So you said, I know you said dealing with a reputable company, I want to have a question for you.
Yeah.
What's your least favorite title company? I'm just kidding.
No. You never know. Hey, don't ever ask a question you don't want to know the answer to, right? Let me ask you, what's your least favorite title company?
Or
look, how about this? What's your favorite title company?
Capital Title.
Well, there you go. That's my favorite too.
Well, this has been great. I think
awesome.
It's great information. We're going to archive this for agent development and agent education. And so if you're watching this, take a look at the video we have coming up next. It's going to be how to leverage your listing for more opportunity for leads. And before we go, just tell me, how can people find you or your company, and where should they go to get your great service?
I mean, you can reach out to any of our business development reps here in Austin. You can reach out to myself. I mean, we've got offices all across Austin. You can go to ctot.com. You can see where our offices are located. One of the cool thing about us too is you might have a client here in Austin that's wanting to buy something in Dallas. We can close them here. We can close them there. We can take care of you wherever you are in the state of Texas.
Awesome.